So we had quite the crazy volatile market today, whipsawing back and forth, going one direction, then the other, with a lot of speed. So it was a very interesting day to watch. I ended up disabling the strategies before the FOMC member spoke, thinking that we were going to get whipsawed out of trades by the algo, and that proved to be a good decision. The best reason to disable algorithms during high impact news events is that despite the fact that your back tests may tell you that the strategies were profitable during that time, which mine do, you don't know where you're going to get filled. You don't know how much slippage there is going to be. So in NinjaTrader, in the backtesting tools, you can simulate slippage, and I usually use 2 ticks. But in the events of very high impact news events, the slippage is probably going to be much worse. We're talking multiple points of slippage rather than a couple of ticks. So I disable the strategies for that reason and that reason only. Not because the high impact news events are bad market conditions for my strategies. I actually think they will work quite well in those environments. The problem is the slippage. You can't know where you're going to be filled, and that is really going to mess things up. So let's jump in and take a look at the trades that we took today using the algorithm. So just kind of going to go through these relatively quickly here. This may look like a completely silly trade to take, right? We have a really small stop, a pretty large target. The market is clearly at this moment trending lower. But how many times have you yourself found yourself trying to go short at the low of the day and then getting completely wrecked, right? So we're at low of day right here, looking for a breakout to go higher. So we have a few different things indicating that volume has picked up enough to where we could get in on the long side. Of course, that volume can dry up at any moment, right? So we do end up getting stopped out on this particular trade. We'll wait for that to happen. Let's increase the playback speed so we can see everything happen more quickly. Okay, so we end up losing that trade. Trade number 2 is a loss as well. So we're taking a breakout above this level here. So using ATR as a method for trying to get us into a mean reversion type trade. That's what we're doing here. So we have a little greater than 15 point stop, I think 17 point stop right here. Trying to take a breakout to go higher into this supply zone. And well, this trade doesn't work either. So this time again, another attempt at a breakout, this time taking our target up here at this resistance level with our stop just below the low of the day again. So given this another shot, and this one ends up working out a greater than 20 point target. So even though we've had 2 losers in a row, this trade does end up hitting target and ends up having us break even on the account for the day minus commission, so we end up still being down very slightly. So we'll watch just to see how this plays out. Want to be 100% transparent. All right. So that one's a win. Now we end up taking a long here while the market is moving lower. Target, or stop rather, just below low of the day. Again, this may look stupid, but how many times have you tried to take a short exactly in this situation and then been completely wrecked? A lot of the times we see this pattern happen, right? Where the market will break a swing to the high side, which gets bulls in, right? And then it takes a dive back down, and that that'll oftentimes trick bears in and trick bulls back out, and then it goes rallying back up. So you get a pullback, 50 to 61.8 to 71.2%, somewhere around this area, and then the market comes and reverses and heads back up. So good reason to take this trade to the long side. This one just does not end up working out, which is fine. So after 4 trades, we're now down probably about $150 on the day. And then finally, about an hour into the stream, we get our next attempt at the long, which we take here. Target up here at this support/resistance, which is a great place to be taking the target. Stop is just down here near the low of the day. So we can see that the algos are mixing multiple different types of entries and really favoring longs today because, again, the market is oversold at this point, quote unquote. There's no such thing as oversold or overbought, really. It's just that most days the market ranges. And we can see that today, although it looked like a really trend heavy day at this time, that did not end up playing out. And oftentimes it doesn't. It looks very trendy for the first 30 minutes, an hour, and then the market just turns into a range or even has a full-on reversal and goes the other way for the rest of the day. So it's very important not to be kind of duped by a recency bias. What has the market done most recently? Well, it broke this swing low and it's moving lower really, really quickly. Might make you think the market is trending. In most cases, it is not. When it's moving very quickly, moving down very quickly earlier in the morning, that usually is bullish. It usually means that the bulls are seeking some kind of liquidity to take the market higher. They didn't get a huge move back in the other direction today, but it certainly did retrace quite a lot, a number of times. So this trade does take quite a while, so we're playing it back at 2 times speed. Still ends up taking quite a long time here. Target is, like I said, in a great spot. Maybe a few ticks lower would have been slightly more comfortable, but you can see we start pulling back here. And this is where I kind of like to talk about why we don't move stops to break even, and other than for the sole reason that it can save us from making psychological mistakes. It can save us from trading errors due to the psychological effects that going 1 or 2 ticks from your target and then coming and hitting your full stop loss might have. But in terms of, they say don't trade your P&L, and that's really what that means, right? You need to trade statistics, not your P&L. So we'll see how this trade plays out here. Just skip forward a few seconds here. Starts to struggle a little bit. And this is what I do here. You'll see that the market came up just a tick under my take profit. And so you'll see what I end up doing here. I'm going to be really frustrated if I end up losing for the day after having been so close to hitting that target. So I trail the stop relatively tightly, and that ends up being it for the day. And unfortunately, this box here is blocking the balance on the account, but it's up about $160 on the day. So things ended up working out fairly nicely on the day. I ended up turning the algos off at this point, which I normally don't do, but we had a Fed speaker a few minutes, or it was coming an hour and a half after this, and we've just been swinging back and forth, in profit, out of profit, in profit, out of profit, all day, and I just wasn't emotionally feeling well enough to handle that, especially knowing that the Fed speaker could get on and we'd get whipsawed out of those trades. So I like to turn the strategies off for that reason. So just a quick update on the account. So this is an earn to trade account that I am using. I don't particularly like earn to trade. It's a bit harder to pass the evaluations. They have some more strict rules than Apex does, for example. But the purpose of this account is really just to document and grow over time because of the trader career path that they have. So I ended up resetting the account. I had a free reset on Earn to Trade because I've had the account for, basically they give you a reset every rebill, and it just kind of sits in a pool that you can pull it from whenever you need it, right? So although we had hit target on this account on Earn to Trade, so the target is $3,000, we did it in too short of a period of time. So we hit that $3,000 target, And most of that $3,000 was made on a single trading day, or not most of, but about $1,270 I made on a single trading day using my algos a couple weeks ago. And so what that meant is I made so much money on that one day that the target became $4,112. So, and then we had a period of drawdown, and the account wasn't really at severe risk of blowing up, but it was still actually in profit by about $1,000. But it was actually still, it would be harder to hit that $4,000 target than it would be to reset the account and start over. So my kind of artificial target, because I made money too quickly, was further away than it would be if I just reset the account. So I just reset it. Just why not make things easier on myself, give myself back to having that original drawdown and bring the target in a bit closer. So that's why I used that. Kind of frustrating, but the nice thing about Earn to Trade with the Trader Career Path is that rule about the consistency rule, 30% consistency rule, actually only exists in the evaluation, not in the live accounts. So it'll actually be easier to trade in the live account, so we won't have to worry about that. So we'll see how things go with this account. I'll be back at updating everyone on every single trading day that we use the algorithms. Thanks everyone for watching. Be safe, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.